right, cool. I think this is the last team, Corey, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah. Well, head coach. They don't have John Gruden anymore. I guess that's the start. Look, Josh McDaniels, I still don't understand what the infatuation with the guy was. His name kept coming up year after year for head coaching jobs. I mean, there's no way around it. He was an absolute train wreck of a coach in Denver, ran that team into the ground within a season. Yes, you expect coaches to learn from their first time failures. Bill Belichick got fired from his first head coaching job. But the thing is with McDaniels, after he pulled what he did in Indianapolis, backing out of a job that he had already accepted and started calling assistants to hire to his staff, it really makes you question how much he learned from that experience in Denver. But hiring Gruden was a bad move as well. So, we'll see if this works out any better for him. Offensively, look, obviously the Devonte Adams trade is the headliner move for the team in the offseason. It'll definitely pay dividends for him. Him and Carr have a great rapport, friends, college teammates. I do question the long-term effects of the trade. I think just giving up what they did and giving the contract they did to a wide receiver that's a few months away from turning 30 is a gamble. We'll see if it pays off for him in the long run. But I think, having a trio of Adams, Renfro, and Waller for Derek Carr to throw to is really intriguing. I think Derek Carr is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a consistent producer. I think it took him a little time to recover from that knee injury, but as a Colts fan, I would happily take Derek Carr as the starting quarterback. So I'm sure you guys would as well.
I think all of us would. All of us would. Don't worry.
I think not picking up Josh Jacobs' fifth-year option should light a fire under him so that they can potentially get some more consistent production out of him. It looks like they're going to go with the back by committee potentially this year. We'll see if that pays off, but we'll also see about what the offensive line looks like. I feel like it's a really bad sign that Leatherwood was running with the threes in camp the other day. Apparently he's listed as the starter on their unofficial depth chart for the Hall of Fame game. But man, if you're expecting a guy to be a starter for you and he's running with your third team offense, that's not good. Defensively, I think Chandler Jones was a big time move. I also think the Rocky Ascent trade was a very underrated addition for them. Rock struggled his first 2 years in Indianapolis. He was very handsy. He would panic, grab, get flagged a lot. But he really came into his own last year. He had a very quiet but very good season for them. So, I hate to see him go, but I'm going to pick the pass rusher over the corner 10 times out of 10. But I think it's a really good addition when they already have a very solid pass rush in Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. So, if nothing else, their secondary shouldn't have to hold up long with the amount of pressure that they should be applying to quarterbacks. Overall, I think the Raiders were facing two options this past offseason. You either make splash moves to keep up with the arms race that was the AFC West, or you trade Derek Carr, you blow it up, and you try to wait out these teams and get competitive in a couple of years. Obviously, they went the former route. They made the big splashes to get Chandler Jones and Devonte Adams. They're loading up to try to make a run under Josh McDaniels. But I think they're still the fourth best team in the AFC West. And I think that there's a chance that they could give potentially Kansas City or whoever's the number 3 team in there a run for a playoff spot. But I have absolutely no faith in Josh McDaniels as a head coach and his ability to lead a football team. I think if they struggle at all, things could snowball, and I don't trust McDaniels to be able to right the ship. When picking games, I ended up having them at 6-11. I do think that's low. I expect them to have a better season than that, but I'm still going to say 9-8 for the Raiders this year.
All right, Craig.
Well, Josh McDaniels, we all know his past time as a head coach or whatever you want to call that. It just wasn't good. So I'm kind of hoping that this time around, maybe he can take that next step forward after spending more time with Bill Belichick, coming to a team that has a really, I ain't gonna say really good, but he's like above average quarterback. I think Derek Carr is he can obviously he can be a lot better, and I think this is a chance to take that next step, especially with given the wide receiver Devonte Adams, his former college teammate. So they already have that camaraderie, they already have that timing now. I would assume. I think they practice with each other in the off season anyway, so everything should be coming natural to both of these guys when the games actually kick off in September. Hunter Renfo had a surprising, really good a good year last year. Kind of came out of nowhere for me. And obviously Darren Waller, he didn't play a lot last year. He was injured, but I think he should come back and redeem himself this year. As long as he can stay healthy, he should have a really solid season. The offensive line looks bad. I don't really know what else to say about it. There's not really high expectations. I think Leatherwood was playing out of position last year. PFF had him rated the second worst starting guard last year. So maybe they put him back at tackle. Maybe at his natural position, he'll be better for that. Who knows? Josh Jacobs. He's a solid running back, but he's not like a top tier running back to me. I think Drake there with him can make something happen as far as a decent 1-2 combination running backs there. So those two guys should be somewhat. I mean, if I had to put them out, I'd probably put them as maybe the third best running back group in that division. But I think Josh Jacobs, when healthy, he's solid. The defense side, I do like Max Crosby. There's nothing to not like about Max Crosby. The Chandler Jones signing was really good for them. I still like Denzel Perryman. I think he had a really solid year last year. Trevor Mooring, he's really good safety. So they have pieces there. If they can try to build off what they did last year, I think they'll be in another position to put together a playoff run. Obviously, that division is going to be tough. And obviously, the head coach, if he doesn't get in over his head early, I think they can have a solid season. And as long as Derek Carr just comes out, last year he was 24-13. So he's going to have to definitely improve on those numbers. I think Devonte should help easily, and also Darren Waller, if he's healthy, that should help as well. So I actually have the Raiders going. I had them at 9-8, and now I changed it to 10-7. So I got them at 10-7. Pretty much every team I got, for some reason I have to redo this because I got every single team in this division with 10 wins or more. So right now I got them at 10-7, but it's fluid, so I'm gonna look at it again.
Yeah. All right. So the Raiders, Josh McDaniels. I've heard him on podcasts. The players talk about how he wasn't a good coach. Both the players were playing for Denver at the time when he was the head coach there. And he got caught for, cheating, and it was just a mess. It was a mess. Sometimes I think head coaches, when they come from Belichick's coaching tree, they they don't embrace who they are and they rely on a system. Now, here's the thing about, when you're a leader in any industry and you're dealing with people, you have to be who you are and be authentic. And that's, as long as you're doing that and being yourself, you'll be able to succeed. So hopefully he's learned that lesson. I don't know. We will see. Uh, but he does have a good quarterback. Derek Carr, I think, is great. They were talking about trading him, and I wish they blew it up. I wish they did. But if you're Josh McDaniels, why would you trade away Derek Carr? Quarterback is the name of the game in the NFL, and Derek Carr is a great quarterback. No, it's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Like we said, he's a good quarterback. I mean, you talk about great quarterbacks nowadays, man. You're talking about, Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, or you talk top tier. He's not top tier, but he's good enough to lead your team to wins. Josh Jacobs, listen, man. I like him. I think he's a good running back. I just think that hopefully he gets utilized. I think he's tough. I just don't think he puts it all together. I don't know. I like him as a player, but I just think he needs to be more consistent. Kenyan Drake, I think he fits perfect with this type of offensive scheme. I believe Josh McDaniels is probably going to run, but I do believe Corwin is probably going to be, I don't know if Corey or Craig said it, is going to be more of a running back by committee. I think that's where they're going to lean towards. The receivers, Devonte Adams, of course, Fresno State. Devonte Adams is probably the best. I mean, you could say Cooper Kupp and then Devonte. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. That's hands down. Then you have, Hunter Renfro, who already has a rapport with Derek Carr. And then you have Darren Waller, who had a down year this last year, but this is a contract year. We know how this works out. So he's probably going to ball to get paid. And I mean, that's how it is. They're pretty locked up for the receiving corps. It's pretty good. Probably one of the best in the NFL. Now, the offensive line is trash. Plain and simple. And I'm gonna get into how that's gonna affect them, but it's not good. Alex Leatherwood, as Corey said, is playing the third team. Then they're not even gonna put him in right guard because he didn't play good last year, and he's not gonna take Lester Cotton Sr.'s title in life, right guard. So, and that's surprising coming from Alabama. Most times those Alabama players, especially on the O-line and the D-line are good. So they said it was a reach. It's looking like it was now. And then defense is pretty good, right? You got Andrew Billings, who I like as a pro. I think he's solid, brings lunch pail to work. Now the edge rushers are phenomenal. You got Max Crosby, who's already setting the tone. And then you got Chandler Jones, who we know who Chandler Jones is. I mean, he keeps putting up numbers. He'd be a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's phenomenal, man. And I like him. And then, Craig, I agree with you. Perryman is good for an off-ball linebacker. He played really good last year, and I think he's able to hold down the middle of the field. Trade for Rock Ya-Sin, I think, was good. Especially for the cornerback position. I think he starts immediately. He helps bolster the cornerbacks, and they need it. Now, their safeties, they got Jonathan Abram, who I think plays a little bit too aggressive, but they also have Trayvon Moore, who was standout last year. So their defense is okay, but once again, if you have that wonderful pass rush, then you'll be okay, especially on the back end of the defense. Now, here's the thing. The problem is the Raiders are a year late and a dollar short. That's the term. So if they had this roster last year, they're making the playoffs. Now they're making the playoffs. They're not, that's easy. But unfortunately, I just think the division that they're in with the pass rush that the Chiefs have bolstered, that the Chargers have bolstered, and that Denver, their O-line cannot hold up. And I think it's going to affect them and be a problem. And let's see if Josh McDaniels can figure it out, because it could snowball. Because you have a lot of veterans on this team that want to win. But that O-line is terrible. And what we know is you in the NFL, my dad says this all the time, and it's true. You got to have a really good O-line and a good D-line. You got to have at least a decent O-line. If you do not have a decent O-line, it's not like the Chargers have, right, pass rushers. You're talking about the Chiefs, who have Frank Jones, who causes havoc in the middle. You have the Chargers, who have Bosa and Mack. And then you have the Broncos, who have Chubb and Gregory. Against that offensive line, the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm sorry, man. I don't think they hold up. And Derek Carr is going to get hit. And it's going to be an issue. And, I think Devonte is going to be cool, but he might, when they stayed in Green Bay, at least he would have won or gone to the playoffs. At least he would have gone to the playoffs. Don't know about winning in the playoffs, but securing home field, that's a guarantee. So I think the Raiders probably go 7-10. I don't see. I just, they're in a tough division now. I mean, maybe outside of division they can win, but they're gonna lose some divisional games, man.